Welcome to the Journey of a Thousand Mistakes. My name is Guillaume Sauvé, and honestly, this week's challenge was a complete and utter failure. I should not have done this challenge. I learned a few things from it, like the fact that you really need sleep. It's so important to your productivity and happiness. Also, it taught me, reminded me, because I already knew it reminded me that in order to change your sleep routine, you have to do it gradually. Because if you try doing like me and jumping back 3 hours, so waking up 3 hours earlier than you normally do, it's going to completely wreck you until your body gets used to it. And honestly, I did it for 5 days and my body still isn't used to it. Yes, today I have energy. I feel like I'm back to my old self, but that's completely unrelated. I'll discuss it a little later on in this episode. For now, I'd just like to quickly explain the challenge, why I feel it was a complete failure, and why I don't recommend it for anyone. So yes, okay, it was a success in the sense that I succeeded. Every day, I woke up at 5. I didn't take any naps because even though it wasn't technically part of the challenge, I felt like taking a nap during the day would have kind of defeated the purpose. So yes, I succeeded. But I was so exhausted the entire time. 3 out of those 5 days, I didn't even work out. And of course, that made me feel bad about it and guilty. And also, I had a little hard time focusing. I got everything else I wanted to do done, but it's just, I didn't have that aliveness, that excitement, that passion. And that's what I'm trying to get from this challenge. Always improve, always become better. And this just exhausted me. It probably still shows if you're watching the video. Like, I look like a zombie basically when I look at myself in videos and I'm like, wow, what the hell happened to you, man? So yes, this was not a good challenge. I'm so happy that it's over. So yeah, don't try this. If you want to adjust your sleep pattern, do it gradually, 5-10 minutes a day, over a couple weeks, so your body can slowly get used to it. So that pretty much covers the challenge. I'd like to quickly explain what happened yesterday because it had a really big impact on my life. And that's why today I feel like I have that energy, that aliveness, and that kind of like moment where it just kind of seems to click in your head and you're like, ooh, I'm starting to understand now. I've been bumping up against that wall for so long and now I finally see a fissure. I'm like, okay, everything's converging. It's about to happen. I'm about to have that breakthrough. So, okay. Yesterday, I was completely exhausted. The day before, I slept only 4.5 hours. I almost passed out at 6 p.m., but I knew I would just wake up in the middle of the night and not be able to go back to sleep. So I'm like, okay, I'll tough it out. And around 10:30, my roommate got home and we started talking, and I always enjoy having conversations with him because it's like philosophical meaning of life type discussions. And I always come out of there with either like a nugget of information or just like, it's hard to describe. Just one thing he said sometimes to just make me think, oh yeah, I hadn't thought of that, or I didn't realize that, or it's just, sometimes that's one small shift in the way you see things can make such a big difference. And I feel like that's what happened yesterday. Basically, he made me realize that I've been striving for this best self that I like to describe. I'm always trying to live into my best self. But honestly, I'm always chasing something that I'm never going to get. Because this perfect version of myself is always going to be one step ahead of me. Every day I get better. So my best self gets a little better. And I'm never, ever going to get there. So it made me realize that that's not really my best self. My best self is me right now. Always growing. Always trying to be better today than I was yesterday. That is what my best self is all about. So I no longer need to wait to have that day where I finally get to become that person. I already am that person. And by accepting that, by embracing it, not only am I way happier in the present, I have so much more energy. It makes life so much easier because you no longer feel like you're chasing something. You're just forging your own path, being your best self in every moment, always pushing yourself, always trying to become greater. Yet at the same time, you already are that. I'm not sure if that makes sense. It's kind of hard to explain. But honestly, having that shift in my head, I'm just like, oh yes, I like it. I'm excited. That passion is back. Okay, that pretty much covers everything. Now it's time to move on to the fun part of the episode, which is my mistakes log. Before we begin, I'd just like to explain that I made a mistake. I should have changed it. Instead of just being a mistakes log, it should have been a mistakes and victories log. Because I've been so focused on the mistakes lately, on what I need to improve, how to become better, that I kind of lost that excitement, that passion in the moment. So by celebrating my victories, like I used to do before I began these challenges, I feel like it's going to bring balance back to my life and make me way happier in everyday life. All right, let's begin. Mistake number 7. I plan my year and my days, but not my months and my weeks. So I'd have those big goals that I set myself for the year, and every day I try to work towards them. But because I didn't detail exactly what I wanted to achieve in a month and in a week, I was always kind of like moving in the general direction of my goals. But sometimes you get to the end of the day and just feel like, did I even do anything productive today? Because yes, I was busy. But did I move towards my goal? Or could I have moved so much faster if at the start of the month, I just made a list of what I wanted to accomplish that month, and then at the start of each week, taken those and broken it down into steps. That way, every single day, I know what I have to do. And I know I'm going to do at least one thing to bring me closer to my writing goals. One thing to bring me closer to my personal development and growth goals. And by doing that, not only am I more passionate, more excited, but having that clear vision just makes you so much more confident. You're like, okay, I know where I'm going. I can do this. All right. Mistake number 8. Trying to wake up 3 hours earlier was a mistake. I've already covered this before, so I won't go into details. I just listed it in my mistakes because honestly, it was a pretty major mistake. All right. Victory number 1. I'm slowly getting used to not caring what others people think of me, and that their actions mean something about me. So that can be a little confusing. I'm not saying you shouldn't care about people. I still encourage and support everyone I can. I'm just generally, I try to be positive, encouraging, supportive. But in the past, I'd identify my sense of fulfillment and belonging to how others behaved around me. For example, something happened last week with a friend of mine, and it's just, in the past, that would have been like hurt. It would have been like rejection, like, oh, am I not important enough and am I not worth it? Why did that thing happen? And I probably would have like lashed out being passive aggressive. In the past, I was super passive aggressive. And honestly, this time it's just like, okay, whatever. Like, it really didn't hurt me. It's not like I was pretending it didn't. It really didn't. And I'm like, oh, I like this. If I can become this more often, more frequently in my life, it's going to make things so much simpler. So it's not about not caring. It's about not attaching your emotions, your sense of self-worth to other people's actions or your perceived, how do I say this? Your perceived vision of how they see you. Because you don't really know how they see you. You just think you know how they see you depending on how they act. But most of the time you're wrong. Anyway, I don't want to harp on this for too long, but having another big breakthrough like that, I feel like it's really going to help me out. Okay, mistake number 9. I waited way too long to start this victories log. I've already talked about this before, so once again, I'll just skim over it. Mistake number 10. I thought that my best self was this perfect version of myself that I would one day become. But like I explained before, I am my best self. And I'm constantly being my best self. I cannot be anything other than my best self as long as I keep growing and every day try to be better than I was yesterday, even if just by a tiny bit. I feel like that's what it is. Like that's what the meaning of life is. Being your best self, striving to help yourself, to help others, and not letting external factors or internal thought patterns disrupt you. make you feel like you're not worth it. Enjoy every moment. Life is amazing. And the more I go, the more I realize how awesome it is. All right, before we end this episode, I'd just like to remind you, take challenges of your own. They don't have to be big. Just start taking action. For so long, there were so many things I wanted to do, including this podcast, blog, and YouTube. And it took me, I'd say, about 3 years from the time I started thinking about it seriously to the time I felt ready to do it. And I'm like, I would be so much further along if I started back then. Or not even started, just made the conscious decision to start working towards achieving that goal. So I wouldn't have those regrets. I'm not saying it didn't happen for a reason. It probably did. I'm just saying, don't keep delaying things because you'll get to the end of your life and just regret it. And that's what I'm striving to overcome, not regretting things, always being my best self in the moment. All right. If you want to follow the journey, if you're just joining now, you want a resource guide with all my top resources, go to The Journey of 1,000 Mistakes. You can just get the free guide there. Also, you'll get updates for everything I'm releasing. So every week I'm going to send you the episodes for the blog, YouTube, and podcast, as well as if I create new material, stuff like that, you'll be the first to find out. So go there. And once again, don't forget, make mistakes, learn from them. And remember, in every moment of the day, as long as you're striving to be better, you are your best self. Just embrace that. Be happy. Enjoy life.